Ever heard the saying, "Don't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm"? It's a powerful reminder tied to the wisdom of Stoicism, highlighting the importance of balancing kindness with self-preservation. In a world where being kind is often seen as an ultimate virtue, many have unknowingly turned generosity into self-destruction. We are constantly told to give, to sacrifice, to put others before ourselves. But at what cost? The truth is, kindness, when given without limits, can become a path to personal ruin. It can leave you drained, unappreciated, and ultimately exhausted. Stoicism offers us another perspective, a way to be kind without losing ourselves in the process. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, understood that kindness must be guided by wisdom. He did not advocate for cold-heartedness, but rather for measured generosity, one that does not deplete our inner strength. In this guide, we'll explore 4 key ways in which unchecked kindness can actually harm you, and how applying Stoic principles can help you set boundaries, protect your well-being, and ensure your kindness remains a source of strength rather than a weakness. 1. Don't set yourself on fire to warm others. Too much kindness can be a dangerous trap, one that Marcus Aurelius himself would caution against. Imagine someone who is always available, always willing to help, never saying no. At first, they are appreciated, admired even. But over time, their constant giving takes a toll. They become exhausted, overlooked, and, when they need help, often find themselves alone. Consider the parable of 2 gardeners. One tends to their own garden first, ensuring it thrives, and then shares their surplus with others. The other spends all their time helping neighbors while neglecting their own land, only to watch their once beautiful garden wither away. The lesson? If you do not take care of yourself first, you will have nothing left to give. Stoicism teaches that we must cultivate a sense of self-respect and self-care before we can genuinely be of service to others. Marcus Aurelius would remind us, your duty is first to your own well-being. Only when you are strong and stable can you truly provide meaningful help to others. Boundaries are not selfish, they are necessary. Ask yourself, is my kindness sustainable? Or am I giving so much that I am losing myself? 2. Reciprocity has an expiration date. Generosity is a virtue, but it carries a hidden danger. When given without moderation, it leads to disappointment and resentment. We often assume that kindness will be returned, that our good deeds will be remembered, but the reality is different. People forget. Gratitude fades. Life moves forward. Think of kindness as planting a tree. You nurture it, hoping that it will provide shade and fruit in the future. But nature has its own course. Some trees will grow, others will not. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control, our actions, not the outcomes. Epictetus famously stated that we should not expect anything in return for our deeds. Instead, the act of giving should be its own reward. By releasing the expectation of reciprocity, we protect ourselves from bitterness. We continue to be generous, but from a place of strength rather than obligation. This mindset shift allows us to maintain inner peace and avoid feeling drained or used. In your own life, consider this. Where are you giving with an expectation of return? And how would it feel to give freely, without attachment to the result? 3. Received requests have no limits. Have you ever noticed that when you help once, people come back for more? The more you give, the more is expected. This isn't because people are inherently bad, it's simply human nature. Stoicism teaches us to be aware of this pattern and to set limits before we become overwhelmed. Marcus Aurelius believed in self-sufficiency and personal responsibility. When we overextend ourselves, constantly providing support, we unintentionally rob others of the opportunity to grow. Consider the mother who never lets her child fail. She helps with everything, shielding them from struggle. But when she is gone, the child is unprepared for the real world. True kindness is not about endless giving. It is about knowing when to step back and let others stand on their own. Seneca once warned that relationships based on benefits will only last as long as the benefits do. If someone only values you for what you can give, that connection is not real. Stoicism urges us to foster relationships based on mutual respect rather than dependency. Ask yourself, are you giving because you truly want to, or because you feel pressured to do so? Learning to say no is not selfish, it is a necessary act of self-preservation. 4. Being seen and treated as fragile. One of the unintended consequences of constant giving is that others may begin to see you as weak. When you never say no, when you are always available, people assume that you have no limits. They take your kindness for granted, and over time, they stop respecting you. Cicero once said, "What you think of yourself is much more important than what others think of you." If you see yourself as someone who must always give, who must always accommodate, then that is how others will see you too. But the moment you set boundaries, everything changes. Stoicism teaches us that true strength comes from within. Saying no does not mean you are unkind, it means you value yourself. When you stop overextending, you stop being used. When you stop seeking approval through kindness, you command more respect. The paradox of life is this: the more you respect yourself, the more others respect you in return. The Stoic strategy for balanced kindness. How can we apply Stoic wisdom to ensure that our kindness does not become our downfall? Here are 4 essential strategies. 1. Eliminate the fear of saying no. Many of us were taught that saying no is rude or selfish. But Stoicism reminds us that we are in control of our choices. We must unlearn the fear of rejection and stand firm in our decisions. 2. Pay attention to your feelings. If your acts of kindness leave you feeling drained or resentful, that is a sign that you need to set boundaries. Stoicism encourages us to reflect on our emotions and adjust accordingly. 3. See yourself as a priority. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Self-care is not indulgence, it is a necessity. Marcus Aurelius believed that caring for oneself is the foundation of a virtuous life. 4. Identify the takers. Not everyone appreciates true kindness. Some people will take advantage of your generosity without a second thought. Stoicism teaches us discernment, knowing when to give and when to walk away. Final thoughts. Kindness is a beautiful trait, but only when practiced wisely. Stoicism does not tell us to be unkind, but rather to be intentional with our generosity. It reminds us that true virtue comes from balance, from giving without losing, from helping without harming ourselves. As you reflect on your own acts of kindness, ask yourself, am I giving from a place of strength? Or am I sacrificing my well-being in the process? If this message resonated with you, consider applying these Stoic principles in your daily life. Set boundaries, protect your energy, and let your kindness be a source of empowerment, not exhaustion.